Hi, I'm Russ Powell. I'm with the Santa Rosa Juggling Club, and we're going to do some juggling for you. We also have a small audience here. We'll be talking with the audience a little bit. And I guess the first question is for the audience, what would you guys like to see? I can show you 1 ball, 2 balls, 3 balls, 4 balls, 5 balls, clubs, knives, bouncy stuff. Good. So we're going to do a lot of stuff here. We've got 1 ball, 2 balls. We'll focus on 3 balls and some 3-ball tricks. There are a lot of things that you can do with 3 balls that nobody ever thinks of. So I'll show you some of those. And then we'll do some 4-ball tricks and some 5-ball. Actually, I've got 1 5-ball trick I can show. And some clubs, and we'll work our way up to some really dangerous stuff, including what I call the produce section, and some knives. Can't bring fire into here, so we'll have to stop with the knives. So let's start with 1 ball. So typically when you learn to juggle, the first thing you learn is to hold the ball and turn it over like this and let it drop. It's called the drop. It's going to happen a lot. It's going to happen in the show here, so you just have to be comfortable with it. So once you've learned the drop, there are a few things you can do with 1 ball. Here's one. Thank you. Oops. If it drops too much, you can do some pickups like that. So there's 1 ball. All right. Round of applause for 1 ball. What do you think? All right. So 2 balls. Here's some 2-ball tricks for you. All right. You can explain it. So if you'll notice here, these are actually they're going in kind of an oval, up on the inside and down on the outside. Right. Okay. So we can switch that around. So from an oval, we'll go into columns. Looks like this. So you see the one on the left always stays on the left, and the one on the right always stays on the right. Okay? Now that's pretty good because I'm doing 2 balls in one hand, right? If I could only do 2 balls in this hand, we could be doing 4, right? All right. So a couple more things with 2 balls. Back. Into the leg. There we go. So when you learn to do 3 balls, this is what you typically learn. It looks kind of like this. There's a name for this. Anybody know what the name for this pattern is? This is called the cascade. And typically it's the first thing you learn when you learn to juggle. Now there's a thing called the reverse cascade. The reverse cascade looks like this. You just take this pattern and you make it go backwards. Looks kind of like this. All right. Okay, now back to this. So this cascade is kind of like neutral in a car. When you learn to drive, you first start out in neutral. When you learn to juggle, you first start out with this. But once you shift into gear, there are all sorts of tricks you can do. And if you don't mind, you guys want to learn some of the names of the tricks? Okay, so some names of the tricks. So you know this is the cascade. All right, there's another one called the shower. Looks like this. When people draw jugglers, this is typically what they draw. Somebody who calls it a circle. And when it goes fast like this, that's pretty difficult. So that usually gets a little round of applause. All right. Okay, so here are a few others. Behind the back. That's 1 behind the back. Have you seen that? You guys have probably seen that, right? So how about 2 behind the back? Looks like this. Here we go. So a few more. This one's called the Statue of Liberty. You'll understand that in a moment. This is one I call the 5-part trick. If you guys learn a better name for it, let me know. In the meantime, it's just the 5-part trick. Because it has 5 parts. The first part looks like this. Second part like that. The third part like this. You guys writing this down? You getting all this? Okay, so the first part's like this. Second part's like this. Third part's like that. The fourth part's like this. And the 5th part is like that. Okay? Thank you. And when you put them all together, that's the 5-part trick. It looks like this. Thanks. Wow. Okay, so here's another one. This is fun if there's a cute woman at the party. And let's see. I call this the elevator. I don't know if other jugglers call this the elevator or not. Remember when we were doing 2 balls? Looks like this, right? So if I get a 3rd ball in there, there's all sorts of stuff you can do with that. So here's one. You're probably saying, oh, he's cheating because he's not letting go. But there's a lot of cool stuff you can do without even letting go of that ball. All right. So how about if we let go? So if we let go, it looks like this. Here we go. Oh, wait, do we have any geometry fans in the crowd? Here's one for the geometry fans. Thank you. All right, so you've got this, right? You see what's happening there? I've got 2 in one hand, 1 in the other. Now how about if we mix this up a little bit, I'm going to crisscross at the top. Yeah. I like that trick a lot. Good. Okay, all right, and last one. Thank you. All right.
Hello, I'm Robbie, and this is Jet. And today we're going to be interviewing Russ Powell.
Hi.
So we're going to be asking him a few questions today. And he's a juggler, so he likes to juggle things. I'll start off with the first question. So how long have you been juggling?
Well, about an hour and a half now. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I learned to juggle back in the late 70s, early 80s. And I tell you, it's funny, I don't remember much about actually learning to juggle. I have vague memories about that. I remember vaguely watching somebody long enough to understand how the basic patterns worked. And then this was about the time I started working. I remember working in restaurants and doing salad prep, fixing the salad bar and whatnot. And I'd have to cut lemons. And I don't know if it's just the size of my hands, but lemons fit really well in my hands. So I would, cut some lemons and then practice juggling, and cut some lemons and practice juggling. And I also have some memories that were probably before that of practicing with balled up socks over my bed. You fell, they'd hit the bed, and you wouldn't have to bend over to the floor, right? So those are two memories I have. But I tell you, I got addicted to juggling when I was in college in the mid 80s. Mm-hmm. And what happened was I already knew how to juggle, but I went to school in New Orleans. And I don't know if you've ever been to New Orleans, but there's a big street performing community down there, kind of like in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And I would go down to the French Quarter and watch street performers, and I fell in love with street performing. It was like your purest form of theater, right? And luckily enough, the jugglers who street performed in the French Quarter met right across the street from where I was going to school. And so I'd go over there on Sundays, and that's where I learned how to do 3 balls and tricks with 3 balls and how to pass clubs and those kinds of things. So that's, if we're in the year, 2009 now, that's been, over 20 years. So. There's some things you can do with 3 balls, in addition, before you go to 4 balls. And one of those is to use balls that bounce. There are silicone balls that bounce very well, but they're terrible. Now this one, once you get going, you can walk with it. So that was equivalent to the cascade that we did earlier, like this, but instead of catching it, I let it fall each time. Okay, so if that's the cascade, what would the shower look like if you're bouncing it? You ready for 4 balls? Yeah! All right, I think you can be louder than that. Are you ready for 4 balls? So 4 balls, here we go. 4 balls. All right, thank you. I can tell they're really impressed. All right, 4 balls, here we go. That usually gets a little applause. Okay, there's 4 balls. Now we can switch around a little bit. Oh wait, actually I should ask a question to the crowd. So when you look at this, are the balls switching hands? Can you tell? No, they're not. So just watch my right hand. Watch a ball coming out of my right hand. And you notice when it leaves the right hand, it comes back to the right hand. Okay. I'm going to put them together, and it's a little easier to see like that. Okay, now we're going to make them start switching. There we go. I'm thinking we ought to drag some audience members up here as well. Joey, would you mind? We got a trick we were going to work on. So what I'm going to do is have you juggle and get a big round of applause, and then I'm going to take the balls from you and then talk about how I did it, and then let you try it.
All right.
Okay? So let's show us how you juggle. All right, here we go. All right, very nice. Okay, so I just stole the balls from Joey, and I'm going to have him try it on his own. That's nice work. Okay. Hey, there it is. Nice work. You want to keep going? You want to try it again?
Okay.
Or quit while we're ahead. All right. Nice work. How about a big round of applause for you? Fantastic. Yeah, thank you very much. Cool. Okay. So Shane and I are going to work with not 3 balls, but 5 balls. Do you want to juggle for the camera real quick? Sure. All right, so I got to grab 2 more balls. You guys give them a round of applause, right? Okay, so on 3, you're going to throw that into me. I'm going to throw it to you. You got to switch in the middle. Okay, ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, nice work. 1, 2, 3. Oops, wait just a hair. Here. 1, 2, 3. All right, nice work. Let's do this together real quick. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, you're going to throw that to me. Switch hands and catch that. Ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and one more. 1, 2, 3. Great. Okay. So the way this is going to work, Shane, I'm going to look you in the eye. We're going to 1, 2, 3, and we'll switch. Then Joey, I'm going to look you in the eye. 1, 2, 3, and we'll switch.
All right.
Okay. And then we're going to come back to you. So we switch here, switch there. You with me?
Yes. Shane
Okay.
first.
All right. Shane first. Here we go. Ready? Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Ready, Joey? 1, 2, 3. All right. Shane, back to you. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. Shane is coming back. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, 3. And we won't pay any attention to that. All right, have a big round of applause for this guy. Cool. All right, so I'm going to do 5 balls now, and I want you to follow the white ball, and you'll notice it too travels in a figure 8 on its side, but it's really tall. Oh, it's a little tougher. Thank you. Were you able to follow the white ball?
Yeah.
You do it one more time. Oh, cool. Thank you. All right. So we're going to take a break from the heavy juggling right now and do something kind of light. Joey, have you done any plate spinning before?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to need you to raise your right hand. Raise your right hand, and then that right hand. And repeat after me. Say I.
I,
State your name.
Joey,
Promise
promise
not to do this at home.
not to do this at home.
Okay, here we go. So will you guys give them a big round of applause if you know this? I gotta go really fast. Okay, you ready? Deep breath. Okay. There it is. Okay, so let's real quick, and I have you stand over the carpet. We just want the plate over the carpet. You guys step on the carpet. So I'm going to show you a couple of tricks with this. Okay, you can look at. Here's one. All right, another one. So behind the back here. Now, is it still spinning? I can't see.
Yeah.
Is it still spinning? Okay. There it is. Okay. One last one. I want you to take notes on this because I'm going to have you do this. A lot of people don't know that when you balance something, like if you balance this on your hand, when there's a weight at the top, or it's really tall, like a broomstick, it totally ends up top. It's easier, say, than like balancing a pencil or something. So we can do this here. Here. There it is. So before we do this second to last trick, I want to have you try that. So hold your hand right here, and I want you to watch the top. That point right there where it meets the plate, I want you to watch that. And on the count of 3, here you go, I'll let you hold on. And when you're ready, let go and see if you can balance it for just a few seconds. Okay. There we go. Nice work. Good catch. All right, have a big round of applause. Don't go anywhere. Let's stay over the carpet. Okay, anybody know what this is? Actually, this little thing right here? this allows me to hold this right here. So would you set that on the top and then bring that down? So we're going to set this right in the middle. Okay. There we go. Very good. And there we go. Let you take it back. Great. Thank you. Cool. All right. Fantastic. And don't forget, trying this at home.
All right.
You can, I should put a plug in here for the Santa Rosa Juggling Club. We're out at the junior college. You can learn to juggle for free, typically Sunday afternoons, 4 to 6. So, and if you just Google Santa Rosa Juggling Club, you'll come up against us.
What's the most dangerous item you've ever juggled, like a flaming sword or something like that?
Oh, many, many years ago, I used to perform at Underground Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta. And when I was first performing, I tried to think of what's the most dangerous thing I could do. And I went into my dad's tool shop, and I found a sickle. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's this
Yeah,
little
One of those
handle
things
goes
that
over
you-
like this.
Yeah,
And an axe. And I'm blanking on what the other thing was.
like a chainsaw maybe?
No, I haven't. No,
A saw?
chainsaws are too dangerous. Well, I was thinking there were 3 dangerous things, but it may have just been the 2, and a bowling ball.
Oh.
So, but you can mix and match that stuff. But the trick was that both the axe and the sickle were very rusty. So if I cut myself,
Yeah.
it's
You get, like,
tetanus city,
lockjaw.
right? So exactly. So, but I had too many people. Chiropractors would come up to me out of the crowd, and they'd hand me a business card, and they'd say, "Son, you're going to need this," because I was doing the bowling ball, and they were afraid I'd throw out my back, I think.
So you did teach yourself to juggle. Did anybody teach you? Did anybody help you?
Well, I learned the basics on my own. That 3-ball cascade, I learned that by myself. But there were 2 major sources for me for learning more. One was my friends in New Orleans when I was learning to juggle. It was in Audubon Park in New Orleans. The other was this great book called Juggling for the Complete Klutz. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's like a Bible for jugglers. It's a small book, and it's got lots of great tips in it. Like one, you drop all the time, right? I dropped when I was doing my show here. Well, there's some drawings in there to help you keep from having to bend over, right? So one of them is this net that goes around your waist and up to the ceiling, so that if you drop, the balls fall into the net and roll right back to your hip. So anyway, that book is loaded with ideas for learning.
When did you start to perform?
Oh, that's a good question. I started so long ago, it's hard to remember, but I remember that when I was in New Orleans, they have lots of parades around Carnival season or Mardi Gras,
Yeah.
and that early on I got paid to do some festivals and that kind of thing. And I remember laughing because I was thinking, this is so much fun for me, and you're going to pay me to play for you? That was great. So, but my favorite time performing was in Underground Atlanta. I build training programs for a living. I work with a Silicon Valley company.
Cool.
And that kind of supports my juggling habit. But for about 6 months back in the early 90s, I lived on my juggling and just street performing. And that was at Underground Atlanta. And I had so much fun with it. It was great. And I still perform a little bit. Just last year I was at the downtown market with a buddy of mine, Mark. We were doing some partner juggling. So, yeah.
Let's see. Okay. When you were performing, what was your first act? What did you juggle when you first started to perform?
Well, some of what you saw here. But I tell you, it's funny, when I first started performing, I thought you needed lots and lots of stuff. So I had a boom box with me, and I had a big crate about the size of this table with all sorts of stuff in it, like the bowling ball and the sharp stuff and fire and all sorts of different props. And then the more and more that I performed, the more I realized you don't need all that. It's a few balls, a few clubs, the plate, and that's it.
Because we're working on TV, I need some help verifying for the audience what this is. Now, do you know what that is?
It's a cabbage.
It's a cabbage head, but it's not just a cabbage head. This, my friends, is the cabbage head of death.
It's not.
All right. So one cabbage head of death. You can verify for the audience that it's a real cabbage head. And it's even cold. It came out of the fridge. So what have we got here? Jet, that's yours. What do you have there?
The apple.
And what do we do with apples?
Eat them.
No. We're at a juggling show, so we're going to juggle them, and then we're going to eat them. All right. So what do we do with apples?
Juggle them.
And then
Eat them.
eat them. Okay. So the last item here is an egg, and I just need you to confirm without dropping that that's a real egg. You can smell it, you can lick it, you can just don't drop it. Okay. What do you think? Is that a real egg?
Yep.
Okay. So again, we've got an egg. I want to get that from you as quickly as possible. Oh. And would you do this as my wedding ring? And when I juggle this, I tend to clink my wedding ring against the egg, and all sorts of trouble ensues. So would you hold that for just a moment? Okay. So we've got the egg, we've got the cabbage head, and what do we have here?
The apple.
And what do we do with apples?
Eat them.
No.
Juggle them.
Juggle them, and then we eat them. All right, so here we go. So we've got the apple, the egg, and the cabbage head of death. All right. Did you guys notice how quiet it got in here just suddenly? All right, here we go. All right. How about another 1, 2, 3?
1, 2, 3.
Here we go. All right, there we go. That usually gets a round of applause. Oh, that's all right. There it is. All right.
Oh my god, that's real?
Thank you. All right, so let's play with these and I'll kind of show you how they work. All right. So this is just like the cascade that we did with 3 balls. If you just follow one club, you'll notice it goes from hand to hand, kind of in that figure 8 pattern. A quick question for you. When you look at these, when one goes from one hand to the other, how many times does it flip? Once. All right. How about if it flips twice? What would that look like? It's flipping twice. What if we made it flip 3 times? How would it look like this? So once, twice. Here's the Thank you. So now I'm going to let you in on a little secret because it might go by if you're not paying really close attention. So I'm going to do these again. I'm going to go up to juggling where we've got the 3 flips, but because when I'm doing 3 flips, there's a lot of time in between. So like, if you listen to the slapping of the club on my hand right now, see how fast it happens? Click, 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 click. When I do it faster, it slows down. All right? There we go. So did you see what happened there? Yeah. So there's enough space in between those that I can speed up my throw. All right, so let's mess around with these. So you got kind of, this is the normal stuff. Go in the leg, go in the middle leg, go in the arm. Let's see. Should we try the knives?
Yeah.
Let's try the knives. Okay, so you guys ready for the knives?
Yeah!
Woohoo! Okay, so we've already proved that these are real. All right. So all right, here we go. Count of 3. Help me out. 1. From down here. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Three.
All right. Here it is.
Oh god.
Yeah. Thank you. This has been a lot of fun, but I have a confession to make. I don't know how to stop this. So I'd love some ideas, and quicker rather than later.
Catch and then drop.
Catch and then drop. Throw one really, really high. Stick it in the ceiling, right? Okay, I like where this is going. How about just this? Thank you.
I saw your knife presentation. Have you ever juggled and passed knives in between 2 people?
I have. and it's incredibly dangerous, so I don't do it very often. And fire too, we've done fire too. And actually, I think fire is a little bit safer than knives. I saw you raise your eyebrows, like, no way. But if I hate to give away secrets, but let's say that you and I are passing knives, right? And there's a bad throw, and I try and catch the knife, and it hits me in the hand. The bad part of the knife hits me in the hand. I got some work to do, some bandaging and some antiseptic ointment, maybe a trip to the hospital, I don't know. With a claw or with a torch, if I catch the wrong end of a torch and I let go right away, it's like passing your hand through the top of a lit match or a lit candle. You don't burn yourself. I'll end up with a black mark provided I let go of it right away. So in that way, knives are much dangerous than torches. So
I see.
something you didn't ask for.
Can I try the plate?
The
thing?
plate?
Yeah.
Sure. Actually, this is one of my favorite pieces, and it's actually the most photogenic when people are taking photos. It's really hard to capture juggling in photography because everything's still, but this, because it's just sitting there, has become a favorite of photographers. So how about if I start it and you take it over? All right. So the trick to this is having a really sharp point and having the plate spinning really fast. Whoops. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to give this to you. All right. There we go.
Cool.
There it is. Nice
Want
work.
to try?
Sure.
Just go really carefully.
Wow.
That's,
It's a lot
Feels weird.
easier than it looks like.
yep.
Just gotta wait.
Let me pass it up.
There.
All right.
Wow.
All right. Thank
Very
you.
Where can we learn how to juggle?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Well, I mentioned earlier that I work with the Santa Rosa Juggling Club. We're a free club that meets on Sunday evenings at the junior college. And we teach for free, and we'd be glad to have you or anybody else come out, any skill level, beginners or advanced. And I have a hidden agenda with that, but once I say that it's not so hidden, that I want to teach people how to pass clubs. That's one of my favorite things to do, right? So that's my goal, is if you come by there, I want to get you good enough to juggle that you can pass clubs.
I think I'll go to that.
So do come join us.
Well, thank you for being here with us today, and we enjoyed
Thank
you
you.
having here. And this is Russ Powell. If you want to learn how to juggle, you can go to the Santa Rosa High School.
Santa Rosa Juggling Club.
Juggling
If you just
Club.
Google Santa Rosa Juggling Club, and you'll get information about it.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.